My next key to reliability: write it down. In fact, how I get my crowd participation to work on this one is in honor of the very first motivational speaker I ever heard on cassette, Zig Ziglar, who had a phenomenal Mississippi accent. I yell out, "What do organized people do?" And with a Mississippi accent, my audience yells out, "Write it down." That's what organized people do. Now, this idea comes from the challenge of the day before vacation. That is, so many of us, if not all of us, write out a to-do list, a to-pack list, a what I need to get done list before you go on vacation. And you may be in agreement with me that one of the most organized days of your entire year is your day before vacation, because you have this set timeline goal and different tasks to accomplish. So what do we do correct on the day before vacation that we can replicate all year to remain organized? And one of the key steps in that is writing it down. So this is where I spark a discussion. What is your calendar tool? And what is your to-do list tool? I'll briefly touch on what I use. We can then have a discussion on what you use with your team and your family. And you can also then share that in the discussion groups in the coming moments. But we have got to get across to the young people we work with and people of all ages. When you come to a meeting or you make a commitment of any sort, you need to, what do organized people do? Write it down. You just cannot count on it always being just available to you right up here. I use this particular example in my workshop. You're out with friends, the phone rings, it's mom. Yeah, mom. Yeah, I'm still out. Sure, I can go to the store. What do you need? Yep. 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 Sure, mom. Yep. Yep. Bad connection. Gotta go. Bye. And we think we got this. We'll remember. But then 2 hours later, we walk in the house. Oh, did you get those things? And you do this. Honestly, didn't fix it. You go back out and get those things. When in fact, what we need to do, no matter what our age, including this guy, is to do this. Oh, sorry, it's my mom. Yeah, mom, I'm still out. Yep. Yep. Mom. Hang on. Let me write this down. All right, mom, you're on speakerphone. Just going to take some notes. Okay, so what do you need? How many? What name brand? Those two insights, the little things, are everything. You get the product with the wrong name brand, it's still wrong, right? Little things are everything. It's training yourself to slow down and take notes. And not to always prioritize work over personal commitments. Use it for all commitments: school, leadership, personal, and work commitments. And use the same tool for all four so nothing gets missed. And training our student leaders on how to use them. So for example, when I used to use the Reminders app, this is a real day in my life on May 28th, 2016, where there was a business thing to do, get out a contract for Richmond Hill, accomplish that by 7:30, put out the car screen that reflects back the light. When my kid's mom said, "Hey, where is it?" "Oh, I think it's in the garage. I'll get it when I come home on the weekend." Setting up the deposit for my rental property company, because I'm going to be away on the 1st, making sure that Liz has that. And finally, packing the Yorkton shirt. And packing the Yorkton shirt slips back to a point I haven't made yet, but I want to tie in. The idea of share your care. See the three attitudes of reliable people? Little things are everything. Honesty, then fix it, and share your care. And you see, when I spoke at Yorkton Regional High School, I knew one of my good friends and my mentors in the speaking business, Alvin Law, went to this high school. So I said, hey, I see you got a new t-shirt logo. I want to pick up a t-shirt for my buddy Alvin because I know I'm going to be staying with him later on in May when I'm in Calgary. So I picked up the t-shirt, share your care. I'm being thoughtful for my friend. I'm aware of his high school, and I know I'm looking forward to staying with them. But when you combine share your care with write it down with actions, you become unstoppable. And you see, by noting to pack the shirt, I was then able to deliver the shirt to Alvin, famous for being born without arms in 1960, but accomplishing so many great things without arms and being an inspiring speaker and a mentor to myself. And what I'm showing yourself and leaders of all ages is when you combine being thoughtful, share your care, with attention to detail, little things are everything, but then execute by writing it down. I note to pack it on the Saturday night so that when I'm leaving Sunday morning, it's already in my luggage. And then because so many of us are now using digital tools, I then can move that reminder from the Saturday to the Tuesday, adjust it to give Yorkton shirt, so that when I'm in his house and my phone dings, oh, Alvin, I have something for you. And that's how we execute ideas into action. Take the little things seriously. Don't expect perfection, and have an attitude of, hey, what's important to you, I want to be aware of as well. In this case, Alvin, your old high school. Now let's combine it with actionable ideas, writing it down, right? And how to use a to-do list and how to combine that with a calendar. Now, in the past year, I've moved to Microsoft To Do, which is a free app that I've really grown to love, right? Where this is the landing page, and it showed me what my day is and what has been planned that I need to get done on the day. But what I really like is that it has then categories for my to-dos. Now, in my case, property management at my church, my rental properties, my own anti-impact speaker, things going on with family, things going on specific with my home, etc. What could a student leader have these as these categories? Student council, English class, music class, and or home commitments. And then underneath those categories, you then have your to-dos. But even more importantly, and why it's better than, say, just taking a note on the notes feature of a phone, is that there's actual reminder times, right? It's not only the date, Wednesday, April 23rd, but maybe a time. Oh, I'm going to be in my home office that night at 8 o'clock. I'll have it ding me at 8 o'clock. Or if you know that the dental office is closing at 3 o'clock, you're out of school at 3 o'clock and it closes at 5, a student would then note, hey, call them at 3 o'clock. So as they're on the bus or they're coming home, the phone dings, they look down, oh, 3 o'clock, I got to call the dentist because I've got to move the dental appointment because of my sports commitment, right? So showing our student leaders that your to-do list can combine school, commitments to your home, commitments to your extracurriculars like sports, and fun things like, hey, has your buddy picked up movie tickets, right? And even having the idea of checklists, right? If there's something you frequently do, going to work, for example, what do you need to pack? So I use it, for example, every time I prepare for a school assembly, what I need to bring. I have a football tailgating group for my university, but a student could have it for their game day, for their prep for a work shift, and get across the idea to your student leaders, the idea of writing it down and then reflecting back on what you've written down so you can act on it. Key tips that I've learned over the years include reply on the day promised even if you don't have the answer. That is, you might have said to another student leader, hey, I'll have 3 t-shirt quotes by Friday, but if Friday comes and you only have 1 because 2 or 3 companies not gotten back to you, you still tell that person, hey, I've got one t-shirt quote, I'm still waiting on two. And then you can decide what the actions are. In other words, you've made the commitment, still act on it, even though you don't have the ideas, the commitment fully formed. I also am a big fan of how the contact feature is unlimited. So note people you meet, get the cell numbers, get how you know them, get some personal details so that when you reconnect with them, oh yes, I know. And as their contacts grow, how essential that is. And it's not just first name and mobile phone. And you're like, I got 3 Gregs in here. Which Greg is it? Right? So the discussion with other people at the event. What do you use as your calendar tool? What do you use as your to-do list? Right? I used to use Reminders, which is a good app. I now use Microsoft To Do. My daughter pays the fee and gets Tiimo, Tiimo. There are so many that are out there. I know the Google Suite and Apple Reminders have a lot of users. Maybe there's some pro tips that you can share in the coming moments having used Google Suite or Apple Reminders. And if you're good old-fashioned pen and paper, what works for you? And or if there are any rules in your meetings that no cell phones are allowed, how can you then convert pen and paper to digital later on and get your students to act on it, because all of them are carrying these phones anyhow. But hopefully in most meeting situations, you tell your student leaders, yes, you can use your phones to take notes. And when you make a commitment, yeah, I'll do that. And you're going to then write that down. You're going to write that down, what you've just committed to, the date it's due, and times where you maybe need to provide updates. And maybe even to help do what I'm doing right now, have your phone on airplane mode during the meeting so we're not interrupted. Because the little things are everything. So discuss, what pro tips do you have for to-do lists and calendar apps, and how can we share these with our student leaders?